This meeting regards the sprint review retro for 146 and the sprint planning for 147. The sprint goal for 146 was to complete the examination and updating of the infrastructure as code for the Azure China setup. That work has not yet been completed. This was a 1-week sprint, attendees as listed. There were 152 hours billed for the project. People who worked on the project: Baba, Azair, Tino, Tom, Jim, and myself. In terms of the work conducted, in addition to the sprint goal, a bug fix for the search filter functionality for single modules was added. EF core tests, we fixed failing integration tests where the database was not being updated in preparation for the test. And we've added tests for invited user repository in support of the EF core migration. The user report for KPIs has been updated to order the edit history for users in order of their last edit rather than the last time that each item was edited. And the DevOps pipeline has been configured to include the EF core integration tests as part of its run. Delete permissions have been removed from contributors in SugarLearning. And in addition to, and we also conducted our usual monitoring. Work will continue on these items in the next sprint, and I'll talk to them later.
Okay. With regards to the monitoring, I know you looked at it. Tino, was there actually any work done? Any changes made at all?
So there are 2 issues that are actually life-threatening, I would say, and we've already created a PBI in regards to one of them, and there's another one that Azair and I were going to have to look into right after this call, and we'll create a PBI to get it done. Yeah,
you're right, but what, like, you did a little bit of investigation. Was there a single change made, or it's exactly the same for this sprint as last sprint with regards to the errors that were shown? So during when you looked at it, will be the same errors going forward, or did you make a change?
The only errors that are the same are usually the forbidden ones that I've seen. So people accessing items or modules that are not allowed to, right? But in regards to the ones that we do create a PBI for, there was one that was actually a recurring one, and a PBI is created with a reference of a history PBI that has already been done by Charles. To further investigate on that one. Yeah.
Right. Could you call Charles and see if you can have a second go at it?
A second what?
A second go at it. So Charles has had a look at it. It hasn't been fixed. Can you call him and just look at it, the same problem again, and see if there's another change you can make? Because I would much prefer that every sprint you look at monitoring and a change is made to see if anything improves the next sprint.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Tino, cool. I just want to clarify, is this the
chunk one?
The chunk issue, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We're aware of the chunk issue. We're not intending to deal with in the next sprint.
Oh, okay. Is that a hard one?
It's not going to be an easy one.
Okay, all right, okay.
Moving down to sprint burn down and dashboard. We completed 72% of the work that was intended. There were 3 commits over the course of the sprint.
That's a much better burn down than I'm used to seeing.
Line coverage has increased from 19.4 to 24% by virtue of the addition of the integration tests.
Okay.
In terms of production deployments, there were 3 successful deployments to global production.
That's excellent.
You'll also see that with the initial work in support of the China production.
Right. Okay.
In terms of the application health overview, failed requests increased from 720 to 750.
There is a large spike in pink on the 3rd of June. Do you know what it is?
That would have been associated with yesterday's failed deployment,
all right.
which was
Okay.
which Ozair, do you want to speak briefly to?
Yes, sure. So Adam, yesterday we were having a failed deployment because there was some issues with the creating the Azure resource groups, and this seems like an issue on the Azure side because I had a conversation with other SSWs, and they were also mentioning the same issue, that the issue was on the deployment and there was a timed out on the random resources while running the bicep script. So yeah.
Ozair, would you be able to call Matt Wicks and see if he's okay with the errors happening during deployment? Because if I don't mind too much if like depending on what's being deployed, this happens. But if he has advice to you to get those errors down, or if he tells you that you should have 0 errors on a deployment, then I'm all ears for that as well. But you know,
Right.
we used to set our offline file to offline while we're doing deployment and then send it online, so we wouldn't get any errors in the old days. So you can ask him about that.
All right, sure, I'll do that.
Do you know what the offline file is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So
I have actually implemented in the Hearing Australia as well.
Oh, okay. So all right, good.
Yep.
So just talk to him about whether that should happen.
Yep.
So take an image of that, put an arrow to the spike, and say, "This is what we're going to try for future deployments." Okay.
Sure. We'll do that.
In terms of total new unique users, changed from 126 to 125. Authenticated users have decreased from 68 to 60. In terms of the product roadmap, we have seen the migrate to Chinafy branch has remained constant, but the EF to EF core migration has increased slightly. We did not do any experimental work. In terms of the sprint retrospective, what went well. Baba, Jim, and Ozair have been working together for the production to China production. The teamwork is going well. The team is very happy with the way that Ozair is taking charge of the daily scrums and of the sprint reviews, retros, and planning. During the sprint, we've also fixed failed integration tests, and we now have integration tests in the pipeline itself. With regards to yesterday's issue, Tom was happy that the team was actively contacting other people to get assistance. In terms of what didn't go so well, my counsel to the rest of the team is during an outage for production, the priority is the restoration of production.
Does that need to be explained to the team? If the website is down, everybody should be swarming until the person in charge, let's just say Tom I has it. He goes, "Thank you, everyone. I don't need any more help now. I'm good. I know what the problem is. I'm doing it." You know, I can't make a baby. I can't have 9 people make a baby in 1 month. I will just get that done myself. But while you don't know what the problem is, everybody should be swarming to help, say, the person assigned. So maybe we might want to add a rule about how to best handle an outage that is affecting everyone, and you know how we know who's doing what. Because what does happen in some outages is things get a whole lot worse because different people are clobbering different things, and you are in a panic and you're not coordinating. So, you know, we don't have a lot of people using SugarLearning, but we should have some processes that we use when there's an outage. Who's responsible? Who's second responsible? Who's third responsible? You know, and it's very clear what's going on. So, yeah, if you could establish that rule, that would be a good plan. I'm sure that there other people have talked about this as well. Now, there is a production issue that went down. Can I see that in the monitoring above?
No, because the monitoring itself, because this is the 7-day view. However, if you do look closely, the availability dropped
Oh, it went to 99.9 instead of 100.
over the course of 7 days.
Okay, and how long was that outage?
Bit over half hour.
Right, okay. And who fixed it in the end?
Isaiah was the one pressing buttons.
Oh, well done. All right, good. Who was helping you the most, Isaiah?
Baba.
Baba. Okay.
And also Nick also joined us, and Tom joined us. So it was a team effort.
Nick and Tom. Did you say Tom?
Tom, yeah.
Who's Tom?
Tom I. Sorry.
Oh, Tom I.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I don't think of you as Tom. I think of you as Tom I.
Tom I.
Tom is Tom B. And I was thinking, why is he joining?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. You came in as a second Tom. All right. Good. Let's continue.
All right. Continuing on to the forecast. So sprint forecast for 147. This is a 1-week sprint with the review on the 11th. One thing to note with this sprint is that there is a public holiday in China. So it is so there's less work than normal, but because we're wanting to maintain a clear sight on the work we're conducting, especially in this state of the current state of the China deployment, we're going to still make it just a 1-weeker rather than extend it to 2.
So it'd be 4 days.
For most of the team, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So in terms of the work, we'll continue the update of the infrastructure as code for China Fly branch. Resolve issues with reordering items in modules containing archived items. So there is an issue where users, if they're hitting the skip or the continue button, they will be taken to the next item, which may be an archived item. So this is part of resolving that problem. Tom's going to continue work with the widgets for recently viewed and edited.
Is this Jeffrey's work?
Yes.
Okay. Shouldn't this be left to Jeffrey to finish, or you want to finish it?
He's on client work.
Okay. All right.
So it's currently in code review, and hopefully once all of them are resolved, we can publish it.
Okay. All right. Good.
We'll be finishing the refactoring of the handling of time structures within the backend, cleaning up the DevOps. So this is the infrastructure as code and the deployment scripts. Resolving warnings in the Octopus deployment. We have a couple of Chinafy items. So this is setting up the SSW identity deployment in China, as well as setting up alerts for when people join the China system. Finishing with the monitoring. Adam, do you have any questions?
How long until that China Phi branch from Luchitech is incorporated and the old code base can be removed?
Jim, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's reasonable we could have it done in 2 sprints.
Yeah, I agree, Seb.
Okay, then we'll have a celebration then. Okay. And has anyone created any tenants in China just to check everything's good?
No, as far as I know. Well, we might need double check on the database to
Right.
confirm.
Can you please turn off the VPN in China and have a go? And when you're completely happy, Jim, then you should get Bubba to do the same thing. And then once Bubba is completely happy and all bugs have been fixed, then ask Tina to do the same thing. Okay.
Is this already part of, Jim, is this already part of the PBI for testing of the China branch?
Yes.
Tom, can you add Matt Wicks, please, into the list?
Yeah. Sorry, into the list or into the call?
Into the call.
Adam, is this to continue the forecast, or are we moving on to? Okay.
No, that's my comments. But just before you finish, I will ask you a couple of questions. That's all. Are you finished? Can I ask some questions before we get to the very end?
Do you mean before the end of the recording?
I think we've done the sprint review well, and we've done the sprint planning well, and the retro was great. So I have a couple of questions before we completely finish that I would like to get on the record. The first one, since I have Matt Wicks here, is if you could show the review and the outage, the pink outage when we do a deployment. Matt, can I confirm that if you could zoom in on that, that'd be great. That big pink spike should not happen each deployment, right?
What's happening? That's like that's literally a deployment.
Yeah, should there be no errors during deployment?
Ideally, I'd be wondering what the hell's going on there. Like,
yeah, yes, okay, that's good. As long as we have a PBI to make sure we do not have any errors during deployment, that's what I thought. Now, in the old days, we'd have an offline file that we'd set, and then we'd deploy, and then we'd get rid of it. Do you want that happening during deployment so we get no errors?
is this going on to an app service?
Yes.
Okay, so you can still use the offline file then, because that's an IIS feature. The other way you can do it is
hold on. We shouldn't be using IIS. We're in .NET 8.
Well, you're using an app service. That's IIS.
Okay. All right. So you want to use that technique, or is there a more modern technique?
I was about to just use the staging slot instead.
Okay.
So deploy your code to a staging slot. Run your database migration, and then swap staging the staging slot with production. So it does a DNS traffic swap. You're going to get fewer errors then, as long as your database changes are not breaking. Not breaking changes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that would be great. Jim and Tino, if you guys could maybe put together the rule on using that slot method instead of the offline, make the offline the bad example, and make sure that what we're doing in SugarLearning is the same, and just coordinate that with OZ. Okay. So that we should have a separate PBI and making sure that works. All right.
In terms of the planning for future work, we've already got a PBI for implementing using the slots. We've also got a PBI for not doing a bicep update if the bicep files don't change. So I'd like to prioritize for future sprints, prioritize the not running bicep if we don't need to, and then look at doing the swaps, doing the slot swapping.
Is this still being deployed? With Octopus?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you push your artifacts, is that one big artifact, or are you pushing multiple little ones?
There are two artifacts being pushed.
Which are?
One is for SugarLearning project itself, and the other one is the biceps one.
Okay.
Which-
So if you have a path filter, like if you do a path filtering for bicep and that if you do a path filter for bicep, so you only publish a new version of the new artifact if the bicep has changed, Octopus will do that for you. So you can say skip if same on deployments. So that's fairly trivial to do.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, that's good. I am going to ask you another question. I noticed that we are running 1 week sprints, and Wixie, if you could just put a poll there. They just decided that they would keep to the 1 week sprint, even though they have a public holiday in the middle of this. So it's a 4-day sprint. They were happy to keep to that and do an even shorter. Now, I just wanted you to put a poll there.
Can someone else do it? I don't have chat.
Oh, you don't? Okay. All right. Then I'll do it. The poll is, I'd like you to consider whether you prefer doing 1 week sprints or 2 week sprints. So I ask that because usually when there's a holiday, most people switch it from a 1 week to a 2 week. So
I'm the one that specifically requested we stay on the 1 week cadence.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. I know what you'll vote for, but I'd just like to hear what everyone else on the team votes for. Just in the chat, just put a like on one or the other.
Sorry, Adam, is this for a general case or for this particular sprint, SugarLearning sprint?
This is SugarLearning sprint reviews.
I mean, the poll, is it targeting, is it referring to a general case, general
No.
situation?
Just this sprint,
particular one.
this particular team. Yes,
right.
I know many clients, we do 2 week sprints. Internally, we generally do 1 week sprints. Can everyone vote? Okay. All right. And can you just tell me your reasons? Can a few people just yell out the reasons?
It's easy. There's less, from my perspective, there's less planning required because there's a smaller scope of work. There's a smaller capacity to work with.
So they're also quicker and easier to change course if we have to.
Right. Okay. 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 Any other comments from anyone? Okay, it's pretty unanimous. Okay, that's phenomenal to know that. I'm going to ask a different poll, if I may, and that would be, do you like doing the sprint review together and then calling me for the summary, or would you like me to be in the entire sprint review and not have to do the summary? So sprint review with Adam, or sprint review without Adam, you just call me for the summary and record it.
Sorry, Adam, I'm sorry, I cannot do the poll because something is problem with my Teams, but I will just
I'm
say it.
I'm doing it. You don't need.
Are you doing?
You can't.
Okay.
You can't like or do anything. Pull open your phone and see if you can do it on your phone as well.
Okay, let me try.
I don't see the chat at all.
If everyone could vote there, that would be wonderful.
No, I cannot see the chat at all as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I can give the answer. I would like Adam to come in the summary.
Right.
I would second that.
Okay. All right. Cool. And can you give any reasons for that?
Yes, I do. Means like it's more easier for us to give you a summary, and then we are prepared better to respond to your questions.
Easier to get prepared. Is that right?
There's usually one or two things where, like an issue or two that requires a little bit of investigation during the meeting. So it's just easier with a smaller group to do a quick deep dive, work out what the actual story is, and that way, with the current setup with the summary, it means that we've also got with the forecast happening at the end. It also means we've usually got a plan of action to rectify whatever we find.
Okay. All right. I think I've got all that. So that's excellent. Thank you guys for that info. Is there any other reasons anyone's thought of? I'm very impressed that you are all voting the same way. I did not expect that. I did expect 50-50. That's usually in most polls. That's not usually what I see, but yeah, it's working well. Yeah, we discussed this at the managers retreat, so that's why I raised it, just to get a sense
We
of
are
what.
very aligned.
Yeah, you're very aligned. Yeah, very impressive. All right, cool. I think that's a wrap for the sprint review.
All right. That being the case, everyone, catch you next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.